We're back to the Total Education Celebrity Show, powered by the Beach Lifestyle Celebrity segment. TotalTutor.net for more information. Twitter, Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook. And always enjoying the celebrities, especially someone, I guess, that's definitely a journalist. She's a jack of all trades, reality TV star, model, and much, much more. So I'm really excited to welcome the program celebrity Adrienne Janic, also known as AJ from Discovery and TLC's Overhaulin. Adrienne, thanks for calling.
Oh, thanks for having me. Wow, what an introduction. I wish you would introduce me for more shows.
Well, I'd love to do that, and what I've developed is that skill set, because, I'm sure, Adrienne, because we can go back and forth for a second, you can't stand the ones that read the entire bio before you go on the radio, because then you miss the point. You're going to sell yourself much better than I will, right?
Yeah, but just the way you introduced me was so. I was very impressed. I liked it. It was like short and to the point.
Exactly. I want you to give us the oodles and noodles of information that your fans out there listening want to hear. Why hear me read your bio? It's boring, and I always
exactly. I don't want to bore the audience, and I would get bored too reading my own bio.
Well, anybody's. When I hear him read my whole bio, I say, "So why am I on this interview? Should I just leave right now?" So that's a great point. Great point. So, Adrienne, tell us how you got your start in the entertainment business. I'm really interested in learning that story.
Well, I got my start 20 years ago in the business. I just, when I think back, I honestly didn't think I would last this long. I thought maybe by age 25 I'd be retired and kind of doing something else, but it just seems like the older I got, I just kind of branched out into different angles of the industry. Because I started off modeling, and in Los Angeles I first signed with the Nina Blanchard agency. And from there, I did Ford Supermodel of the World. I did that contest. I didn't win, but I ended up getting signed by Ford, and they've been my modeling agency for the past 20 years. And I have to really credit them for my career because, they've supported me through all of my career. I don't want to say career changes, but I started off modeling, then I branched out and did commercials, and then I started doing acting and hosting, and they have been behind me, supporting me through my, just kind of how can I say it? You can't just be a model. I mean, in this industry, especially nowadays, you have to be, like you said, a jack of all trades, and that's kind of where I got my start.
Exactly. Everyone in their brand. Your brand is Adrienne Janic. However, you have so many different components to it. If you didn't stick to your brand, then you couldn't say, here's this, this, and this about me, so you find different work. You might find some acting sometimes. You might find...
Yeah, because, modeling has been great, and I'm very grateful that people still want to hire me for modeling jobs. I always said I will model until I'm old and gray or until people don't want to hire me anymore. So, but at the same time, as I matured, I thought, wow, I really like to talk. And sometimes, for the most part on set when you're modeling, you really can't talk. So I figured, let me try commercials. So I started doing commercial work. And then from commercial work, I started doing some acting work. And then from there, it led to hosting. So it just kind of snowballs. And, I'm very grateful for all the jobs and opportunities that I've had.
Absolutely. You're one of the original Fanta girls. Tell us a little bit about that story for a second.
Oh, my goodness. I have to say, when I got the call to audition for Fanta Soda, all my agent told me was just show up, very casual, just wear jeans and a tank top. You're going to go in for this, soda that was popular in the 50s, but Coca-Cola is going to relaunch it. I said, no problem. Drive to Hollywood for the audition, and all of a sudden I see all these girls, and they're in dance costumes, and they're stretching, and they're, practicing a song, and I'm thinking, am I here for the right audition? So lo and behold, the casting director tells me, oh, by the way, you do have to sing, and you do have to make up 3 counts of 8 to dance. Well, first of all, I don't sing. I am horribly bad. The dancing, well, I was a cheerleader in high school, but that's the extent of my dance career. I almost left. I almost walked out saying, there's no way I'm going to get this job. But I figured I drove all the way to Hollywood. I'll just stick it out, have fun with it. So during the audition, I was cracking up and laughing the whole time because all I could think of is how ridiculous and stupid do I look right now. I probably sound horrible, and the dancing, it's a little questionable. But from there, I got the call back. I got a second call back. I got a third call back. And before we knew it, Coca-Cola was in the room, and they're like, congratulations, you're a Fanta girl. So it's one of those things you can't assume that you're not right for a project because you never know what they're looking for. And at the end of the day, I ended up lip-syncing in the commercial anyways.
So they always figure out a way. They saw a great model and say, hey, you're perfect for the Fanta girl, but yet we don't want to hear you sing. So I'm not going to ask you, Adrienne, to sing. Trust me on that one. So then basically you kept doing modeling, but then you got these gigs hosting, and this leads to where you are today. But kind of the process of where we end up is very strange. Sometimes we think, okay, we're away from hosting, we're doing another niche thing, and then before you know it, we're back into this. But tell us your first experience as a host.
My first experience as a host was with the E! Network. And at the time, they were looking for the new host for Wild On. And they had this huge casting call, and a friend of mine who was getting into hosting at the time, I called her up and I said, hey, you should really audition. I think you'd be great to be this host of Wild On. She said, no, I don't want to go. I said, okay, listen, I'll go with you. I'm going to go to the gym first, and I'll just meet you at the venue. Well, it's this huge cattle call, and we're kind of waiting in line. I'm not auditioning because at the time I just didn't want to be a host. I was focusing on my acting career and still modeling at the time. So the E! News, not the E! News, it was like the E! crew comes out, and all of a sudden there's this camera in my face and a microphone, and they asked me, hey, so how does it feel to be auditioning for the next host of Wild On? And I looked around. I said, oh, I'm not auditioning. I'm just here supporting my friend. I'm in sweats and in a tank top. I have no makeup on. I'm not even prepared, and I've never hosted before, so you need to be talking to her. So, of course, they interview her, but then one of the producers comes out and is like, I understand you're not auditioning. Why? I said, because I don't know how to host. It's just not my thing. I've never taken a class. So he said, I really think you should audition. I said, okay, fine. So I went through that whole audition process, and like Fanta, I get the first call back, the second call back, and before I know it, I'm in the finals, the top 10 to be this new host, but I didn't get it. But from there, I kind of thought, well, this was fun, and it was a fun experience, and E! actually hired me to do a couple of more specials for them, which was great. So I kind of got my foot in the door as far as hosting goes through E! Entertainment. So, I have to thank them for, kind of helping me with my hosting career. And from there, it just kind of snowballed.
Right.
And I still have no idea what I'm doing. I've never taken a hosting class. Everything I've learned has been on the job. The teleprompter, the hosting, the interviews, I always wing it. That's kind of like my thing.
Well, I think, Adrienne, that's the big thing they talk about in radio or television. If you're a gift of gab, you're going to be a successful host because you can fill dead air. You can fill time with people looking at you. Like I do the TV thing and I do the radio thing, but I'm not trained in that. I was a professional wrestler for 9 years, so it helped me to understand the entertainment business in that way, and then became a teacher and came back to this thing. But I have never been trained in it, but the more you do it, the better you become. It's like anything else.
Yeah, and I think that's right. I mean, as far as training, I'm not knocking it. I think if you want to become, let's say, a TV anchor or a serious journalist, then yes, I believe that you definitely need to go to school for that because you have to learn how to produce your own segments, write your own segments. That's a whole other ball game. But the kind of hosting I like to do, I just like to kind of be myself. My signature trademark is a little bit goofy and dorky, so if you watch some segments or some episodes I've done, I always have to throw in something just goofy because that's just me. And if I can't be myself, then it's not fun. So as far as hosting goes, just kind of, bullet points and kind of loosely scripted shows is kind of more my thing versus a journalistic style host because that I've tried before and it was torture. I mean, yes. I've never... I don't want to say what job it was, but it just was the worst day because it was so boring. I mean, they told me how to stand, they told me how to talk, they told me how to position my head, my voice. I was like, I'm a robot.
And that's the thing. I have talking points right here that I wrote down about 3 hours ago. And then I come up with questions based on the answer to your next question. And say,
exactly.
Hey, and that's the way. That's a natural. That's what people enjoy. And they like hearing about that. So
it's more fun.
It's so much more fun. I mean, when I have people give me prescribed questions, I want to puke. I said, please don't do that. Give me a couple talking points because I have no idea, and this is where publicists don't know what they're doing. They have no idea that in the heat of the moment, or I ask a question that excites you, Adrienne, you're going to answer that's going to lead me to the next question. So I am leading to the next question. So after your experience hosting, you got back in the TV thing, but the reality thing. How did you get involved with Overhaulin? Tell us about that.
Overhaulin is a car makeover show. It's still on the air now. It started off on TLC, and it's basically this car makeover show where we take a classic car and we redo the entire car in 7 days, which is so unheard of because when you take your car, to get fixed at the shop or even a new paint job, it's just unheard of to have a complete classic car redone in a week. So that's kind of what made this show really popular. And my job at the time, I was hired as an actress to do the hidden camera and the pranks on the show because at the time they did have a host and co-host, but they did need an actress or actors and actresses to kind of do the hidden camera stuff to play an insurance adjuster or a cop or, just different, just to kind of throw the mark off. So I did several episodes of that, and it was a lot of fun. It kind of took me back to my theater days because basically you only had one shot. I mean, you can kind of rehearse how the scene should go, but you never know how the person's going to react. So that to me was fun because it was just like you just didn't know how the outcome was going to be. And at the time, the first co-host decided to leave after a couple seasons to pursue other opportunities. So they were in a little bit of a scramble to replace her. So they came up to me and they said, hey, Adrienne, would you like to be the new co-host of Overhaulin? And I thought, okay, well, the most hosting experience I've had was on E! But that, I don't know if I would consider that enough experience. I go, and most importantly, I know nothing about cars, so I don't think I'm the right girl for you. So they said, well, you know what, it's fine. I think you'll be great. And so I thought about it, and I said, okay, fine. I'll take the job on one condition, that you don't expect me to pretend that I know about cars because, first of all, I'm a bad liar, and the automotive world can sniff out a fake. I mean, you just can't pretend like you know about cars and try and get away with it. So they said, okay, fine. So that's basically how I got the job on Overhaulin. It was just, I started off doing the pranks as an actress and became the co-host. And I also asked the questions that people at home would be asking. Like I wanted some of the audience members to learn about cars with me. So that's the approach that I took to it. And as far as my name, they felt that Adrienne was too girly for the garage. So from Adrienne Janic, I became AJ, which was fine because a lot of my friends had called me AJ before anyway, so it wasn't anything new that I had to get used to. And it was probably one of the most fun jobs I've ever had.
Do you think the AJ, the whole thing, Overhaulin, gave you your big break that really is taking you off in your career right now, having this opportunity?
Definitely. And again, it's one of those things you can't assume that you're not right for a part. And I have to say that Overhaulin really just kind of gave me that boost. I mean, Fanta, I have to say, really just kind of gave me a boost in the commercial world. But Overhaulin really gave me that boost as far as a hosting career and really kind of put me on the map. And I became a respected host. I mean, I learned everything about hosting on Overhaulin. I learned how to read the teleprompter on that show. I learned about cars. I learned how to do interviews. And, of course, through trial and error, I have to say there were a lot of times where I wanted to just, run to a corner and just cry because it was frustrating because I'm such a perfectionist. But at the same time, to me, that's the best school, is just being hands-on, learning from your mistakes, and having fun, too. And I love that show. I did 47 episodes. And I have to say on that show, I definitely caught the car bug. And I have a great appreciation for classic cars where before I didn't get it. I was like, yeah, that's just an old car. Where now it's like, oh, yeah, that's a 68, Mustang. Or it's like I know year. Like I can kind of pinpoint, more or less the year of it and, look at the body style. And it's just I definitely grew an appreciation for these beautiful cars.
Well, and AJ, the cool thing is it's still on the Discovery Channel, so that it might live forever, and you're doing your own thing now, but yet now you'll be recognized through your fans. AJ, over to the new opportunity, and tell us about the new TV show. I'm so excited to hear about it.
Well, the new TV show is not automotive related, which I hope to get back to soon because, like I said, I am very grateful to the automotive world for embracing me, and it's been fun, and I love cars. But this new show is fitness related, and it's a celebrity fitness show called Fit, Famous, and Fabulous. And basically, I'm hanging out with celebrities, and I'm working out with them, hanging out with their trainers, kind of spending time with them for the day, just to kind of see what they do to be fit and fabulous. Because people want to know. I think people have such a fascination with celebrity and what they're wearing and what they do to have that flat stomach or that perfect butt. And, this show kind of takes you into their world, and you see them as real people. I mean, you see them sweating, you see them working out, and you have a greater appreciation for them because they're not born with perfect bodies.
Do you notice, Adrienne, a lot of them are not very fitness-oriented? They don't really understand a lot of fitness, that they really need a great personal trainer to get them to where they are today with their bodies?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of them definitely have the trainers, which I don't blame them because I would need one, too. I mean, I take classes because if I were to work out on my own, I get so distracted. Like I'll see a girl and see her outfit's like, oh, that's a cute outfit, or I'll check out two people talking and I'm wondering, oh, I wonder if they're exchanging numbers and go out for a date. I mean, I'm just very easily distracted that I need either somebody yelling at me or I need to be in a group setting because I get very competitive. So that's kind of what I personally need. But I think a lot of these celebrities, they do have the luxury to have someone come to their house and yell at them and get them in perfect shape.
Very interesting. What do you think? So when is the show going to be airing on? Is it already started, or have the first episodes been have started to air?
No, I just wrapped, and this show will premiere in January of the new year.
Fantastic. And what would you think was the coolest celebrity you hung out with and worked out with? Who would you say?
Oh, gosh. I have maybe three. One of them was Antonio Sabato Jr., he's actually a friend of mine, and he, I have to say, is probably one of the nicest people you will ever meet. Very, very down to earth. Loves his family. I mean, he speaks so highly of his family, but his workout is insane. Insane for a guy his age. He does gymnastics, and he actually goes to a real gymnast gym where they train to be, future Olympians. He has a trainer, and I have to say I was really impressed. I mean, I'm not saying he's old, but he's in extremely good shape for somebody his age, and the things that he did, from handstands to he was able to do the rings and flips, and it just was crazy. So they put me through the warm-up that gymnasts go through, and, I got to do the balance beam, and it was pretty intense. I mean, I'm way too tall to be a gymnast. I know back in the day when Mary Lou Retton was like the golden girl, I wanted to be the next Mary Lou Retton, but at 5'9", that's not really going to happen. So I got to live out my dream to be the next Mary Lou. But I have to say I was so sore the next day. And I definitely have a much greater respect for those gymnasts because that's some pretty intense training. I mean, this is not running on the treadmill. So Antonio was fun. I had a great time with Kendra Wilkinson. We went to her husband, Hank Baskett's gym, and he put us through an NFL-style workout. So that was pretty intense. And she was a lot of fun, too. I mean, she's a really fun person. Kind of what you see on TV is how she is in person. And let's see who else. I actually it's not just all fitness. I actually also got to cook with Rocco DiSpirito.
Oh, okay.
And I'm a disaster in the kitchen. And I warned him. I was like, Rocco, I do not cook. I'm very basic with everything. So he's like, no, don't worry about it. Super nice guy. He made the most amazing Italian dishes for under 350 calories. It's like a little bit of cooking, a little bit of fitness. We also have some beauty and fashion. So it's a little bit of everything that this show has to offer. But I have to say I've had the best time filming this show. I met a lot of great people. All the celebrities that I got to hang out with were a lot of fun, and it was really great to see just kind of I want to say, quote, normal human side of them, because people see them in the magazines and they're so untouchable, but yet this show shows them in a really real light.
And I see that all the time, Adrienne, interviewing celebrities on my radio show, that they're so cool, they're so down to earth, yet they had a talent or gift that got them the right place, right time, like you with your deal that helped you land Overhaulin, which helped you land this deal now. So, Adrienne, where can we go ahead and watch the show and learn more about you?
Well, Fit, Famous, and Fabulous is on a fairly new network called Rio Living. I know it's on the Dish Network, Verizon Fios. I don't know who else. I should probably know this stuff, right?
No, that's okay.
But I know you can go to Varia.com or VariaLiving.com, and you can see, all the shows that are on there and see if your network or cable provider carries them.
And you have to ask your local, remember, this is always the big thing, ask your local cable provider to carry it, especially to watch Adrienne. Come on now. And this is a show I would say could be picked up by anybody. And you have gotten this big break because any time to hang out with celebrities like this, how cool is that? I mean, that's something. Yeah.
It's been so fun, and I post a lot of photos on my Twitter, which I'm at Adrienne Janic, and people, the response is like, wow, you got to hang out with Kendra, or you got to hang out with Rocco, or Samantha Harris, and, what were they like? And I said, they were really cool. They're just normal people like everybody, and like I said, the show, it's a fun show because we show them in like a fun, positive, normal person, light. And you see them sweat. You see how they, get their bodies. You see them, they talk about, anything that's difficult for them. So we definitely make them human on their show.
Well, it seems like you definitely make them human, and it sounds like so much fun. Where do you see yourself, Adrienne? I mean, look, you had the big opportunity with Overhaulin. Now this new show, which I know is going to do well. Any celebrity, trust me, it's going to provide lots of viewers, and I already see the network has a huge audience already that you're going to be able to tap into. Where do you see yourself next, Adrienne? Do you have another goal? Because, again, you've already shot this, so there's some other projects, I'm sure, going on. Maybe you can't tell me yet, but maybe that's setting up for our next interview.
Yeah, actually, you're kind of right on that. I'm actually working with a couple girlfriends of mine. We actually met in acting class, and we've had this project in the works, I would say, for 5 years. So, we started off doing this show. I don't want to say too much about it because I'm superstitious, but I don't want to jinx it. But at the time, we were all going through different, we went different directions in our careers. And also, too, 3.5 years ago, I had a baby. So I took a couple years off and wanted just to be a stay-at-home mom. So I literally put my career on hold probably for the past 2.5, 3 years just so I could be at home with my son. And I have no regrets doing that because it's gone by so fast that I'm grateful that I was able to do that because I know not a lot of women can do that. So I will always cherish that time because I know you can never get that back. So for me to be at home with my son was probably one of the best things I've done. And to be honest, it was a nice break for me from the industry because, after 20 years, I love my job, but I was a little worn out because, I'm tired. I was nonstop. And now I have this beautiful little baby where I get to be at home with. I don't have to worry about going to the gym to stay in shape. So I have to be honest, I took a lot of time to lose my weight on purpose so I wouldn't have to go back to work. Does that make sense? I was like, I have another 10 pounds to lose. Yeah, I can't fit the clothes. So I just give me a few more months. So
hey, but see, you went and did this, and a lot of people, that would be considered suicide in this business, and you still landed a big deal. So, hey, and so hopefully, so the project is on. We're still waiting on hearing about what happens with your friends, your girlfriend. So we're not going to jinx it.
We're actually working on the script right now. It's going to be more scripted, comedy-based, which I love. I mean, if I had a dream job, I would either love to do a comedy film or a sitcom. Is that I love, because I mean, when I started getting into acting, I did a lot of sitcoms. So I would love to get back into that. I love comedy, and these two girls are comedic geniuses. They're stand-up comedians. So we're working on the script right now. We still have to shoot a pilot, and hopefully we'll be talking about it next year.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed that everything goes well with that, so everyone can go at Adrienne Janic. Also, you can go to your website to find out information, and I will be tweeting out every station that the show is syndicated on so that we can continue this process, and best of luck. And my listeners out there, you want to watch the show and you do not carry it on your cable network, you call your local cable provider and say, I want Adrienne in my home. And that's what you need to do. But thanks again for calling the program. Best of luck, and it was nice chatting.
Oh, thanks for having me on as a guest.
All right, take care, Adrienne. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're listening to Total Education Celebrity Show, powered by the Beach Lifestyle Celebrity segment, and we'll be back in just a moment.